Okay.
All right.
Quick bathroom break, and then we'll do the reads and
hey,
then
what's
story time.
Oh boy, Ellipsis. I hope I don't spit out my drink. Oh, I'm like right on top of the microphone. I'm like, hello everybody.
Hello everyone.
Welcome to Midnight. Ellipsis of Love. Coming up next, after my brother relieves his bladder.
Yep. It's funny because it's true.
And I'm going to sit here and speak to you and let you know that I am butt-ass tired. My eyes are very red, and I've taken out my contacts, so the world is fuzzy. But I will make it through this pornographic video game, and then I will fall asleep on the couch in an awkward position and make you all think, is she awake? Is she asleep? She hasn't moved for a while. And then all of a sudden I will nod myself awake and act like I was awake the whole time by speaking very loudly. Oh my God, so here's a real thing. So when we were kids, brother and I, so let me tell you the story. So when we were kids, Andrew has always been he was very insomniatic, like very much. Mm-hmm. I, on the other hand, have never, ever had trouble sleeping. And so, but I also had FOMO before I knew what FOMO was because we're old. And so brother would want to watch Joe Bob Briggs or, something at night, and mom would let us. And so we'd sit on the couch and I would inevitably fall asleep. And brother would come over to me and, during the credits to be like, okay, it's time to, wake up and, actually go to your bed. And he would be very gentle and Kelly. And like, I don't wake up because I sleep through a lot of just everything. Kelly. And so finally, after multiple tries, and I don't know if I gave lip service ever, and I was like, I don't know, because again, I was asleep, so I would wake up to him being like, get up, and I'd be like, why are you yelling at me? And it's very funny because so like, and he's like, I'm not yelling at you, it's just because he's been trying so hard to get me up like 4 or 5 times now, and I'm not getting up. And so I wake up to him yelling at me and I feel like very attacked, right? So fast forward 30 years and I have an 11-year-old and a significant other who both need to be up at 6 a.m. And they are both terrible morning. So I'm really good in the morning. I can just get up. Like, I can get up if I need to get up. Like this morning I had to be up at 5 a.m., which is another reason why I'm very tired. So this morning I had to be up at 5 a.m. and I just get up. I don't like it. It's not what I want to do, but this is what I do. I just get up, right? So I am in charge of getting these children and, my man-child, out of bed, and they give me this lip service, and they're like, and I have to go up and down the stairs, like, Jeremy, and then Sophia, and like just up constantly trying to get them up. And I do, brother. I get to that point that I'm like, hey, school, or hey, work, and then that's when they get up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I wonder if they feel the way that I felt those days on the couch, and I'm like, why are you yelling at me? When really, I'm like, I've already been down to your room 5 times. At a certain moment, get your out of bed. So that was my story for everybody. While you urinated. Okay, your turn.
Lower the lights.
Well, because I was doing the whole sexy voice. No, good night. I'm a bird. The lower the lights was because I was sexy voicing, and by sexy voicing, okay, I mean...
Yeah, that's too dark.
Not sexy voicing. I don't... Only if I had, like, a sore throat do I have a sultry voice. Other than that, I'm very Fran Drescher, which is unfortunate because I hate her voice, but I know that that's how I sound. So.
Sleep.
What was that? What was that?
That's from one of the Mystery Science Theater 3000.
That's right. Oh my gosh.
There's a Svengali character who's like, "You must sleep."
Right.
And throughout the show, Mike or Joel and the bots and whoever is, every time someone says, it's like, "Hey, could you make me a cup of coffee?" And then maybe you could sleep.
I do. No, I remember the sleep part, and I thought that was okay. You have some.
Oh, we got to read the
talking to do.
That's right. Let's. So, thank you, everyone. We have raised $2,175 for Rady Children's Hospital. So I would like to take this moment to thank awesome people just like Brian Gillis, Lou Sulmu, Anime Momo, Keith Mangold, Jared Nicely, Cheryl Still, Barry Eisen, Mike Lamp, Eddie V, Joe, April and Eric Giroux, Jessica Center. It's Jessica Center. I don't know why. I don't know why. Over that. Jason Deagle. Nagarjan Gopaled. Nog. Hi, Nog. Corinne Helbert. Corinne Helbert. Doug. Scott. Karen Cooprider. The Patel family. Paul Lysick. My pronunciation is only going to get worse as the night goes on.
Oh, my God.
Paul Lysick. Ronan 504. Riku Polandina and Captain Toad 64. Lovely Super Mario Maker 64 level. Super Mario Maker 2 levels 64. Wait. Lindy Lee, Kat Slagle, the rest of the Slagles, Addicted to Chaos, Andrew Eaton, Pammy D, Rotten Tanuki, and Alex Perez. Thank you all.
Yes, thank you.
All right, yes, thank you. Okay.
And then I snort, and it makes the whole thing even better.
Okay. I'll take this for right now.
You're like, get that microphone away from her.
Okay.
'Cause I'm going insane.
We'll just put this right here. Okay. All right. So a little bit of backstory. For the past year or so, we've been on the Sunday streams. We've been playing Trails in the Sky. That's funny. We've got the we're reading the Ellipsis 11 right here. And because I am 12 years old, the script for Trails in the Sky, the written dialogue, uses a plethora, a cornucopia, a metric butt ton of ellipses. Like, there are few sentences, very few lines of dialogue in this game go by that don't have at least one ellipsis in it somewhere. So, as a joke, I read out all the ellipses in the dialogue. And then I thought about, how would a porn script work with all these damn ellipses? Oh,
porn is nothing but ellipses, though. A guy comes in and he's like,
"You can't pay for
you need to fix the copier."
I can't pay.
Yeah,
But maybe there's something else I could do for you, and so I giggled about that for a while. So Brian, one of our viewers, wrote Ellipsis of Love, a super sexy fan story set in the world of Trails in the Sky, starring everyone's favorite bard, Olivier Lenheim. So,
I cannot wait.
Settle down. Loosen your clothing.
Hello.
And let us partake of the raunchy tale, Ellipsis of Love. Or, a tale of how one Olivier Lenheim, musician extraordinaire renowned across western Zamoria for his masterful hands and silver tongue, after no small amount of deliberation, a perfectly appropriate amount of alcohol, some quality interpersonal time, and a good night's sleep, ultimately decided upon the title, Ellipsis of Love. Written by Brian Gillis. Edited and read by Andrew Eisen. Act 1. In 3 acts, by the way.
Oh?
This read will take about 15 minutes.
Excellent.
Here we go.
I'm ready.
It is said that absence makes the heart grow ever fonder. There is some truth to that. But it is, of course, an oversimplification. In many cases, absence will hardly be noticed until one is reminded of it. Such it is with many aspects of Erebonian life which are absent in Liberal. For instance, it was only the other day that the complete lack of passenger rail transport suddenly dawned on me. But when that which is absent is most treasured by one's heart, its pain cannot but be felt. This only leads, however, to so much more joy when it barges back into one's life, as it so delightfully did for me one afternoon in the Grand Cell pub, while I was working on my latest ballad. "Olivier!" a stern voice shouts from the entryway. There stands a man with a soldier's posture and a piercing gaze that struck through to my very soul. Of course I would find you here. He is unfortunately presently in garb, which ill befits his nobility of heart, which must certainly have been chosen in an attempt to avoid attracting the gazes of admirers other than yours truly. Alas, it is to no avail, as all eyes within the bar are now upon his handsome visage. But I am not a jealous lover, and so I grant them my silent blessing to enjoy the sight. "My dear Muller," I call out, granting him a magnanimous smile and waving him to my table, "have you come to join me? I fear I might not be at my usual impeccable standard of company, as I am presently engaged in deciding upon a name for my latest ballad of love. Though never fear, you are always, of course, welcome to sit at my side and admire my peerless countenance as I engage upon this task." My dear Muller lets out a low growl, perhaps a hint of what I might hear from him if we were to engage in certain private affairs. While this is highly inappropriate for the current company, I appreciate his attempt at flirtation for what it is and smile warmly at him. A cross expression forms on his face as he perhaps realizes his faux pas and is now feeling rather cross with himself. Graceful friend that I am, though, I grant him silent permission to save face by publicly taking his frustration out on me, an offer which he gratefully accepts, saying, "I had one request for you. All you needed to do is let me know when you were leaving and when you expected to return. Is even this too much to ask?" Quite the perfect cover he has found. Why, I almost find myself believing that he is genuinely cross with me. I attempt to wipe the smile from my face as I play along. "Oh, my dear, I am so dreadfully sorry to have worried you. For you were in the shower when I left our lodgings at the embassy, and my mind was thus occupied with thoughts too base to be mentioned in public.
Sorry.
I do sincerely apologize for having worried you so. If you would like, you are welcome to attach yourself to me, such that I might never again leave your sight." Muller is silent for a long while, but his eyes speak volumes, thanking me profusely for helping him out of what could have been an embarrassing situation. At last, he says to me, "That won't be necessary. Just please at least try to mediate yourself so that I don't have to drag your drunken body across the city. Again." "Of course," I say, smiling warmly at him, my eyes expressing what words cannot. "I intend with all my heart to keep this vow at the time I speak it, but of course, I have my own vulnerabilities. I know full well that there is a limit to how much I can drink, and so, as the day passes and my dear Muller departs for other business, I make sure to moderate my consumption at his request. This also proves wonderfully helpful at allowing me to finish the music and lyrics of my newest ballad, leaving me with only the task of deciding upon a title for it. But, in the end, it turns out that it is not my vulnerability to alcohol which does me in before I can decide upon the title, but my vulnerability to being struck in the head with a bow staff by an overenthusiastic young lady."
That's a good turn.
Act 2. It is said that absence makes the heart grow ever fonder. There is some truth to that. But it is, of course, an oversimplification. For instance, it hadn't occurred to me until just this moment how much I miss the beauty of a delightfully spinning ceiling. It is one of the wonders of the world how all pubs have decided upon the same feast for the eyes with which to impress their patrons who have indulged to the point that a good recline on the floor is needed. But who am I to question such a show? One of these days I will have to inquire about the orbal art used for such an illusion, but today is not that day. Today is the day for my absent friend to barge back into my life once more. Ellipsis.
Of love.
As if plucking the strings of a lute, so does that beautiful empty space pluck at my heart. Ellipsis. I sigh as pleasure washes over me. I had almost forgotten them in their absence, but now that I was so delightfully reminded of them, I cannot help but cry out. There was no help in there. I cannot but cry out, Ellipsis. Olivier, Ellipsis, comes the steely, manly voice of my dear Muller, lovingly pairing my name with that beloved non-sound. Ellipsis, seriously, how much have you had to drink, Ellipsis? Bracketed betwixt acoustic voids, I can scarcely hear, much less understand, the words being spoken to me. But my mind easily fills in the gap between the gaps with what I know must be being said. Olivier, how utterly dashing you look this evening. Might I be blessed with the opportunity to join you for a drink? Why, Ellipsis, I say, being sure to decorate my words liberally with some spice for the ears. Of Ellipsis. Course, Ellipsis. You, Ellipsis. May, Ellipsis. Join, Ellipsis. Me, Ellipsis. Ellipsis, right. Ellipsis, come on. Let's get you up before you vomit in your mouth, Ellipsis. My body writhes as it is not assaulted by those not sounds once more. Oh, Ellipsis, I say, and then not say. Please, Ellipsis. We're in public, Ellipsis. Ellipsis, yes. Ellipsis, and your Ellipsis, never mind. Come on, Ellipsis. Up we go, Ellipsis. This is now starting to become decent. But I have not the will to resist. My hands move at their own behest in an attempt to disrobe myself, desiring to match the not words I'm hearing with not clothes I'm wearing. Alas, though, my efforts are to no avail. Could you, Ellipsis, please, Ellipsis, at least try, Ellipsis, to keep your hands out of my pants while I carry you back to the embassy? Ellipsis. It would seem that I have fallen too deeply into lust's embrace, for my hands cannot but fumble so gracelessly as to confuse Muller's clothes with my own. Such a showing would be completely unbecoming of one of my stature, and so I regretfully withdraw from my shamefully failed attempts to disrobe, allowing my lover to be the pleasure. I coyly place my hands behind my back, then lean forward to whisper sweet nothings into his ear. Ellipsis. Ellipsis. And now, Ellipsis. Ellipsis, he replies, taunting me by intertwining his returned nothings with his lovely voice. Why are you, Ellipsis, breathing directly into my nose? Ellipsis, especially when your breath reeks of alcohol, Ellipsis. Why, Ellipsis? I ask, before giving him a teasing giggle. Why, Ellipsis? Not Ellipsis. Because, Ellipsis. He grunts as he tries to come up with an excuse, but it's plainly apparent he cannot deny my advances. Ellipsis. Never mind, Ellipsis. We're finally here. I find myself tossed into bed. Somehow, in our lustful haze, the two of us had made our way to my room, though I cannot say whether it is of my own will, my lover's, or the guiding hand of fate. But although this is exactly where I desire to be right now, I cannot help but admit surprise at my lover's being so uncharacteristically forward. Usually he is quite the coy one, apt to pretend disinterest in my affections. It must be the case that his repressed urges have finally broken free, and he cannot contain himself any longer. Grinning nearly ear to ear, I lie back in bed, and I call out with our secret language of love to entice him onward. Ellipsis! Ellipsis, he says not, returning the sentiment. Such is my arousal that his silence is able to break my own. Oh, yes, ellipsis. Just like that, ellipsis, I say. Ellipsis. Comes no sound through his lips. Ellipsis. Truly, there could be no greater pleasure than a lack of words from my lover. In fact, that would make quite the line to add to my song. So I push through my mental haze to make a mental note of it. Thankfully, this distraction results in me failing to speak out. Ellipsis. Ellipsis. His non-voice returns my sentiment. Ellipsis. And again, ellipsis. Oh, yes, I cry out despite myself writhing in bed. More ellipsis. More ellipsis. Ellipsis, he obliges, and obliges again. Ellipsis. Almost. Ellipsis. I'm almost there, ellipsis, I say. Give me ellipsis. Your best ellipsis. Ellipsis. He does not respond. And then, to finish me off, he hits me with a silence so deep. It is as if he is not even in the room at all. Ellipsis. 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 The world falls away, and silence overwhelms me. I feel as if my body is adrift in the void of space, as the utter ecstasy of nothingness overtakes me at last, with a final empty call of ellipsis. I am gone. Act 3. It is said that absence makes the heart grow ever fonder. There is some truth to that. But it is often forgotten that the reverse is equally true. The heart makes absence grow ever fonder. Ellipsis. Ellipsis. Heart. Swelled of heart after a night of torrid silence-making, my mind was filled with sweet nothings. Ellipsis. Ellipsis. Ellipsis? Parenthetical ellipsis? Ellipsis! Nothing but the sweetest of nothings. Tilde, ellipsis, tilde. Ellipsis? Ellipsis. 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 Ellipsis?
Oh my god!
Interrobang? Ellipsis! Ellipsis, eighth note. Ellipsis? Ellipsis. Ellipsis. Vertical ellipsis. Ellipsis?
Vertical ellipsis.
Therefore, be for ellipsis. Inverted question mark, triple combining dot above, triple dot operator, ellipsis? Double and close quotes. Ellipsis! That's it! I have it at last, the perfect title for my latest song. Still half asleep, I pull myself from my bed and toward my writing desk. I then pull myself from the floor to the water closet to get cleaned up. Just a little bit. I'm actually a remarkably clean drinker, and I pride myself on never having vomited on myself while sleeping the night after, so I simply need to give my face a good splash of cold water to help wake myself up. I do not have to worry about getting my clothes cleaned, as they are not vomit-stained in the slightest. Freshened up, I returned to my writing desk, ready to pen the title of my new piece. If only I could remember it. While the perfect title had been clear in my mind but minutes ago, now I can only remember a fragment of it. I desperately try to resurrect it within my mind from what little I can remember. Ballad of Love? Too on the nose. Song of Love? Ugh, even worse. Night of Love? Too cliché. Sound of Love? Close, but entirely wrong. Silence of Love? Quite the wrong implication. Acoustic Void of Love? A title perhaps a bit too ahead of its time. After staring at line after line of potential titles for minute upon minute, it finally becomes clear to me. I search through the papers on my desk until I can find the sheet music for my new song, and I bring my pen to the top of the page, writing out Ellipsis of Love. I will simply have to figure out the first word later. Finn. Ellipsis.
Lord.
Hi, Siberian Tiger. Ronan has a fever, and the only prescription is more ellipsis.
Oh my god.
So thank you, Brian, for writing Ellipsis of Love. That was super fun. And I hope you all enjoyed it. Alex says, super late night question time. Your name is spelled Kelly and not Kelly. My wife and I love the Kelly spelling, by the way, but your brother is Andrew and not like Andreu.
Well, which is funny because it's Grandma's last name was Graybo, and it was spelled the
Grabau.
Yeah. So, but brother's name. If anyone, hey, do you? Okay, I was about to ask if you knew how to spell your middle name, which I know you do now.
Bennett.
Yeah. So, Andrew's middle name is Bennett. Bennett. So Andrew Bennett Eisen. So his initials are Abe. But there was a brief moment in time that so our grandfather, his name was Carl David. So there was a very brief time that Mom thought, well, let's name him Andrew Bennett Carl David Eisen.
Yeah.
And then his initials would be A, B, C, D, E. And here's the thing that's pretty funny about that is, like, Andrew Bennett, Carl David, like, actually flows in my opinion. Because Patrick is Patrick Joseph Carl. So Patrick actually has the Carl in there. But I thought Andrew Bennett, Carl David Eisen, and our father was like, Phyllis, down, Phyllis, no. Roll up newspaper, no. Okay, so anyways, Brian, well done. That was uncomfortable to say the least.